Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Asto Tadasadashi Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Krishna Prasthaya Buddha Smati Bhaktivedanta Swami Janamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vicharane Nivasesha Sunyavadi Pasha Jati Siddharane. What's that? No, I haven't sung Jai Radhamana, but why not? Okay. Hand over the cartels, please. Thank you. Whoa. Have you got something a bit more petite? Petite. Do you know what petite means? Petite. It's French for small. That's better. Well, let's see what it sounds like. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Braja Janarandana Yasoda Nandana Braja Janarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Braja Janarandana Yasoda Nandana Braja Janarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamunatiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivājika-acharya Asto Tadasari Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi Namo Vishwaraya Krishna Stabilis Mani Pajama Bhagavatam Namo Vishwaraya Krishna Stabilis Mani Bhaktivedanta Swami Tanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurāvani Pachara Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you. We're reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8. Canto 8 about? It's about creation and destruction, isn't it? Or is it about, let's have a look here. Withdrawal of the cosmic creations. Withdrawal of the cosmic creations. Chapter 3, Gajendra's Prayers of Surrender, text number 17. Oh. Okay, I think I've got it. Madrik prapana pasupasa vimokshanaya. Muktaya buri kurunaya namolayaya. Va Swamsena savatanu brinmanasi pratita. Pratyagdvishe bhagavate brihate namaste. Madrik prapana pasupasa vimokshanaya. Muktaya buri karunaya namolayaya. Layaya Swamsena savatanu brinmanasi pratita. Pratyagdvishe bhagavate brihate namaste. Madrik prapana Madrik prapana pasupasa vimokshanaya. Muktaya Buri Karunaya Namolaya. Swamsena Savatanu Brinmanasi Pratita. Pratyagdrishe Bhagavate Brihate Namaste. Madrik Prapana Pasupasa Vimokshanaya. Muktaya Buri Karunaya Namolayaya. Vamsena Savatanu Brinmanasi Pratita. Pratyagdrishe Bhagavate Brihate Namaste. Madrik Prapana Pasupasa Mokshanaya. Muktaya Buri Karunaya Namo. Swamsena Savatano Brinmanasi Pratita. Pratyagdrishe Bhagavate Brihate Namaste. Madrik Prapanna Pasupasa Vimokshanaya. Muktaya Buri Karunaya Namo Layaya. Swamsena Savatano Brinmanasi Pratita. Pratyagdrishe Bhagavate Brihate Namaste. Ladies. Madrik Prapana Pasupasha Vimokshanaya. Muktaya Buri Karunaya Namolayaya. Swamsena Savatanu Brinmanasi Pratita. Pratyagdrishe Bhagavate Brihate Namaste. Madrik Prapanna Pasupasa Vimokshanaya. Muktaya Buri Karunaya Namolayaya. Swamsena Savatano Brinmanasi Pratita. Pratyagdrishe Bhagavate Brihate Namaste. Madrik, like me, Prapana, surrendered, Pasu, an animal, Pasha, from entanglement. Can somebody do me a favour and open up the Veda base to this verse and then click on the word, the word for word link for Pasha. I want to find out what the translation is. That's what rope. That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, very good. The good thing about the Veda base is if you click on those links, it'll take you to everywhere that word exists and the translation of it, so you can get the subtleties of the meaning. But yeah, okay. Vimokshana. We don't have to look in the Veda page, we can ask Gopa Vrindesh. Hey? We press the Gopa Vrindesh button and it plays. Vimokshanaya. Unto he who releases. Muktaya. Unto the Supreme, who is untouched by the contamination of material nature. Very important quality. Huh? Buddhi Karunaya, who are unlimitedly merciful. Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. Alayaya, who are never inattentive or idle for the purpose of my deliverance. Sva-amshena, by your partial feature as Paramatma, Sarava, of all, Tanubrit, the living entities embodied in material nature, Manasi, in the mind, Pratita, who are acknowledged. Now there's another word I'd like to look up. Pratita. Anyway, Pratyakdrishe, as the direct observer. Pratyakdrishe, directly sees. Of all activities. Bhagavate, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brihate, who are unlimited. Namaha, I offer my respectful obeisances. Te, unto you. Since an animal, such as I, has surrendered unto you, who are supremely liberated, Muktaya. Certainly you will release me from this dangerous position. Indeed, being extremely merciful, you incessantly try to deliver me. By your partial feature as Paramatma, you are situated in the hearts of all embodied beings. You are celebrated as direct transcendental knowledge. Now where's that? And you are unlimited. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what is that, Gopa? You are celebrated as direct transcendental knowledge. Which words is that in the Pratyagdrishe? Huh? Yeah. But you were seen, Bhagavate Brihate Namaste. Very interesting. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. The words Brihate Namaste have been explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Brihate Sri Krishnaya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. There are many tattvas, such as Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and Shakti Tattva. But above everything is the Vishnu Tattva, which is all-pervading. This all-pervading feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is explained in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 42, wherein the Lord says, Atava bahunoitena kim gyatena tavajuna vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam ekam shena stito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, ekam shena, right? Just a little bit of myself. I pervade and support this entire universe. Thus, Krishna says that the entire material world is maintained by his partial representation as Paramatma. The Lord enters every universe as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, then expands himself as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu to enter the hearts of all living entities and even enter the atoms. Andantarastam paramanu chayantarastam. Every universe is full of atoms, and the Lord is not only within the universe, but also within the atoms. Thus, within every atom, the Supreme Lord exists in his Vishnu feature as Paramatma. But all the Vishnu tattvas emanate from Krishna. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 2, Aham Madhya Hidevanam. Krishna is the Adi, or beginning, of the devas of this material world, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Therefore, he is described here as Bhagavate Brihate. Here's an interesting statement that could be taken out of context. Everyone is Bhagavan. Right? Prabhupada said it here in the purport. Everyone is Bhagavan. Everyone possesses opulence. But Krishna is Brihan Bhagavan, the possessor of unlimited opulence. And we're little opulence. Ishvaraha Parama Krishna. Krishna is the origin of everyone. Aham Sarvasya Prabhava. Even Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara come from Krishna. Mata Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya. There is no personality superior to Krishna. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Bhagavate Brihate means unto Sri Krishna. In this material world, everyone is a pasu, an animal, because of the bodily conception of life. Yasyatma buddhi kunupe tridatuke svati kalatradishu bhoma ijyati yat tirtha buddhi salile nakahichich janeshva bigeshu saeva gokaraha. A human being who identifies the body made of three elements as a self, who considers the byproducts of the body to be his kinsmen, who considered the land of his birth to be worshipable, and who goes to a place of pilgrimage simply to bathe rather than to meet men of transcendental knowledge there, is to be considered like a cow or an ass. Moo, moo. Right? You can see in the cows the person trying to get out. but he's stuck. Right? Stuck in the body of an animal. Bhagavatam 10:84-13. Practically everyone, therefore, is a pasu, an animal, and everyone is attacked by the crocodile of material existence. Not only the king of the elephants, but everyone is being attacked by the crocodile and is suffering the consequences. Please raise your hands if you've been attacked by the crocodile of material existence. Yeah. Only Krishna can deliver us from this material existence. Indeed, he is always trying to deliver us. Ishvaraha savabhutanam riddesha junatishthati. He is within our hearts and is not at all inattentive. His only aim is to deliver us from material life. Which words is Prabhupada referring to in the verse? Which words is Prabhupada referring to in this verse? In this paragraph, do you think? If you think you know what it is, raise your hand. Muktaya. Maybe. We'll go on, because he says it here actually. It is not that he becomes attentive to us only when we offer prayers to him. He is never lazy in regard to our deliverance. Therefore, this verse says, Buddhi Karunaya Namolayaya. It is the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord that he always tries to bring us back home, back to Godhead. Buddhi Karunaya. Buddhi means great. Right? Like we know a Buddhi Jana, right? A great person. That's what made me think when I read this morning. God is liberated, and he tries to make us liberated. But although he is constantly trying, we refuse to accept his instructions. Savadaman parityaya mam ekam sharanam praja. Nonetheless, he has not become angry. Therefore, he is described here as Buddhi Karunaya, unlimitedly merciful in delivering us from this miserable material condition of life and taking us back home, back to Godhead. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmaye Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kada Mahiyam Tadati Svapadantikam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam. So the first words that Prabhupada extracts here are Brihate Namaste. Right? And Brihate means, how is that translated here? Brihate, where is it? At the end. Brihate. unlimited, right? The greatest. I offer my obeisances unto the greatest. Brihat, the biggest, right? The greatest. And Prabhupada says, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur translates this as Brihate Sri Krishnaya. So that means Krishna is the greatest. Nobody greater than Krishna. And Prabhupada expands on that. There are many tattvas. Vishnu tattva, Jiva tattva, Shakti tattva. But above everything is the Vishnu tattva. And who's the source of the Vishnu tattva? Who do you think? Krishna. Yeah, Krishna is the source. And it's interesting, in the Brahma Samhita, Krishna is described as appearing in a medium-sized form, right? Medium form, like a human. You know, we walk around a place like we think we own the joint. Right? I'm a big, right? But actually we're just little. We're actually little. Human beings are actually quite little. Comparatively speaking, especially in relationship to personalities like Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu and Maheshwara, Lord Shiva, right? Shiva. And even though Krishna is the Brihate, right, or Brihat, the biggest, still he appears in a human form. But of course, that form of a little boy, right, or that form as a human is what's the word? Masks or is bewildering because it covers the power and the potency of Krishna. This is why I've been listening to Tamal Krishna Maharaj's lectures on the Brahma Samhita. And why the Brahma Samhita is actually a very, very important book. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found the Brahma Samhita in Trivandrum and was in ecstasy to discover the book. Right? He experienced symptoms of ecstasy when he touched the Brahma Samhita. Right? Because the Brahma Samhita confirms all of this, the Brihat, the Brihate, right? The power and the potency of Krishna. Right? Ishvaraha Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govanda Savakarana Karanam. And Prabhupada quotes that verse, right? He quotes a few verses here to underline the potency of Krishna. Yet Krishna appears as a little boy. And so therefore is bewildering to others. Like Indra, for example. Interesting. Indra is a great devotee, right? He's the king of the demigods. It's got to be. You don't get the role of the king of the demigods by being an asura. Yet we see a very interesting, and we find this sometimes, we look at the behavior of a devotee and we scratch our heads. We think, what is he doing? What is going on here? So if we look at the behavior of Indra, what was he trying to do? After he was deprived of his worship, he got extremely upset. You may be able to relate to this. If you're not getting the attention that you think you deserve, you'll get upset. Does that ever happen to you? Anybody experience that? You're not getting the attention that you want or that you think that you deserve, and then what happens? We think, Krishna, what's going on here? Why aren't I being looked after? Why aren't you being merciful to me? I'm a great devotee. Right? I deserve much more better than this. And then in our bewilderment, and we see this, in Indra, in his bewilderment, that he decided to destroy Vrindavan. Right? Is that the behavior of a devotee? Do you think? What do you think? What's that the behavior of? What is it? What do you think? Subhyat, what do you think? Destroying Vrindavan? Is that a devotee behavior? No. But Indra's a devotee, isn't he? You know, it's interesting because there's the element of Leela also, right, that we can't. But again, that's Krishna's plan. Krishna has a plan. So he directly controls everything here. And sometimes we think, oh no, Krishna, you're not looking after me. Right? But Prabhupada says here, no. And this verse, Gajendra says, no. Buddhi karunaya. You're always acting for my benefit. So even if ostensibly it appears that we are suffering or being restricted or being punished, right? Ostensibly. Somebody asked me, what does ostensibly mean? And I didn't have immediate response for the meaning of ostensibly. But do you know what ostensibly means? You know what that word means? Very interesting word. It means the meaning is apparently but maybe not. Right? It's apparently here's what it should be, but it could be something else. Something is ostensible. Right? It may mean one thing, but it could also mean something else. Right? So we see it sometimes. We're in a difficult situation, like Gajendra's in a difficult situation. And Prabhupada said we're all being bitten by the crocodile of material existence, right? And so we think, oh no, why am I suffering? Right? But very often, because Krishna is always Buddhi Karunaya, the suffering that we go through as devotees is actually beneficial for us. Right? Because that doesn't mean that, you know, we can justify the abuse of others and say, oh, you know, you're just getting your karma, right? Because we also have to see deeply. This is the nature of a devotee is that they see things very deeply. Like here, Gajendra is saying, you will always protect me. Yet how long has he been fighting with the crocodile? How long? 1,000 years. Woo! Right? Yet, because Gajendra is such a great devotee, he sees that as Buddhi Karunaya, great mercy. Interesting, huh? What an amazing character. And of course, we hear that in his previous life, he was Maharaj Narjumna. And yet somehow or another, Maharaj Narjumna, who we know is a great devotee, right? Like on Saturday we just celebrated what? What do we celebrate on Saturday? Well, we probably didn't celebrate it here because we do it on Boxing Day. But it was Snan Yatra. And that was the appearance of Lord Jagannath. And Lord Jagannath appeared as a response to the prayers of Maharaj Narjumna. Is that right? Yet here we find that Maharaj Narjumna has taken birth as a crocodile. Oh, sorry, as an elephant. Right? As a different devotee took birth as a crocodile. So that is amazing, isn't it? Can we assume it's the same Indrajumna? That's the explanation. Must be a different Indrajumna. So, how do we understand these things? Yet, Gajendra is such a great devotee that he appreciates that suffering as an impetus for remembering Krishna. And that even though he feels abandoned or lost, he took it as great mercy that suffering was Krishna's mercy to remind him of his relationship with the Lord, and that the Lord saved him effectively. So how do we process that? What happens when we suffer? What do you think, usually? How do you think? Accept it as Krishna's mercy? I guess ultimately we have to. But do we do that realistically? And so therefore the suffering is necessary till eventually we wake up. Oh! This is Krishna's mercy to help me remember him and his greatness. Because we're very fortunate. Krishna appears before us, actually in many ways. Krishna appears before us in the form of Radha Vallabha and Gauranitai and Jagannath Balaram Subhadra, in the form of Srila Prabhupada, in the form of the holy name. Especially in Kali Yuga, Krishna appears in the form of his name and is with us all of the time when we're chanting Hare Krishna. Of course, Krishna is with us all of the time, as Prabhupada explains here, in the form of the Paramatma, the Super Soul. But why it's important for us to understand the greatness of Krishna, and getting back to that point about the Brahma Samhita, the reason why the Brahma Samhita is a special literature for us is because it's like a summation, a summary of all of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. And why Lord Chaitanya was so ecstatic to find the Brahma Samhita, because it describes all of the Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Shakti Tattva, right? All of the various tattvas are concisely described in the sutras of the Brahma Samhita. And important for us to know, to learn how all of these various tattvas come from Krishna. And helps us understand the Brihate Sri Krishnaya, or here at the end, Brihate Namaste. I offer my obeisances to the Lord, because He's the source of all of creation. He's the source even of my suffering. And that suffering is embraced by the devotee, because even though there may be some physical or material inconvenience, it is an impetus for us to remember our relationship with Krishna, and ultimately to remember that we're a servant. You know, that Krishna is great, Brihat, you know, and what's the opposite of Brihat? What's an antonym for Brihat? We have the word, Prabhupada says, Anu, right? Instead of Bahu, we are Anu. Instead of great, we are small. And the, you know, the difficulties and the challenges and the sufferings that a devotee experiences help to remind us of our das anu das, right? We're a little devotee. We follow in the footsteps of the great devotees. And so Gajendra's prayers here are very important for us, because they help us appreciate the quality and characteristic of a devotee. And you know, that opportunity to curb our pride, curb our maya, actually. Not yoga maya, but maha maya, right? The maya of illusion. And of course, Prabhupada, you know, what's our illusion? We think we're this body, and we think the extensions of the body are ours. The place where we were born is worshipable. We fail to take advantage of the opportunities afforded to us by the association of the devotees. And the opportunities to serve, ultimately to serve. Krishna is great, and He appears in a form as a human being, right? And so it can be, that form, that medium form covers Krishna's potencies, right? And interestingly, Krishna appears also in the form of His devotees, who also look like human beings, right? And we sometimes minimize the benefits of having the association of the devotees. We have to appreciate that Krishna appears in the form of His devotees. His instructions come to us in the form of a devotee. Or the instructions here are coming from a devotee in the form of an elephant. He's an elephant. Have any of you had any association with an elephant? I've had the good fortune of having a friendship with an elephant. Don't cross an elephant. Well, is my advice. Yeah, that's right. There was an elephant at the Adelaide Zoo. Simone, her name was. And, it was at the Adelaide Zoo that I decided to become a vegetarian. Because I got to know so many of the animals. I became friendly with the animals. And it wasn't only me, it was the other guys that I was working with and the keepers. We were all friendly with it. But Simone, in order to get out into the zoo, you had to walk past this little alley, and the elephant's enclosure was right next to that alleyway, right? And it was, Simone could get her trunk around and she could hit you, or she could get very close to hit you if she wasn't happy with you. So, you'd feed the elephant, but then if you didn't pay attention to her when she wanted to, then she'd get upset. In fact, I remember working in a cage opposite, and then this stick whistled past my ear, and she'd thrown it at me because I wasn't paying attention to her. So I was at the zoo. I realised that these are people like me, only they just happen to be in an animal's body, right? So here we're getting instructions from an elephant, and the elephant ultimately is a great devotee, right? And we get instructions from devotees, and sometimes we ignore the fact that those devotees are representatives of Krishna, right? And so we don't take their instructions so seriously. But of course, if we do, we get great benefit. I remember my friends were telling me, you should chant 16 rounds and follow the rules and go to the morning go to the temple and associate with the devotees. Right? And that was the best advice that I ever got from anybody, right? Chant Hare Krishna. And the first Sunday feast I went to, one devotee said to me, do you chant Hare Krishna? I said, yeah, I chant Hare Krishna. I said, easy. He said, okay, here's some beads, chant 16 rounds. Right? He said, you can chant? Okay, chant 16 rounds. So I was a bhakta, right? What we call a bhakta is somebody who, when they turn up, you tell them to do something and they immediately go off and do it, right? So I was a bhakta. So I got 2 sets of beads, and I said to Chincharipa, we've got to chant 16 rounds. So that's what we went and did, right? Now, when I look back a few weeks later, I realised all my friends who'd been telling me to chant 16 rounds and go to the temple and attend the Mongol Aarti and go to, do the whole program, none of them were doing it. None of them were doing it, except for that devotee who was living in the temple. Right? And but that was Krishna's mercy. I realised later that's Krishna's mercy. The devotees give us advice and instructions, and primarily, what's the advice that we're given? Chant Hare Krishna, surrender to Krishna. Huh? That's what we. And Prabhupada mentions that here. Sarva dhamam parityajya mamikam saranam. Right? Surrender. And that's basically what Gajendra is saying, right? I should surrender to you. You're always looking out for my good fortune, even if it appears that I'm suffering. Right? That's the vision of a devotee. Of course, we're not always, we are, if we're in a material body, then we're suffering. We think material bodies for enjoyment, but actually material bodies for suffering. Right? But, and we discussed this the other day, when we associate with the devotees, and when we associate with bhakti or devotional service, when we associate with the Mahamantra, then because we're not associating with the material energy, but we're actually associating with the spiritual energy, then we become purified. Right? We become godly, Prabhupada says. We become godly. And we see that here with Gajendra. Even though he's had 1,000 years of fighting with the crocodile, because of his previous devotional service, he remembers these prayers. Right? And then by chanting these prayers, the Lord appears. Why Prabhupada says we should become expert at chanting prayers or mantras. Right? And Prabhupada is interesting in that verse that I gave class on the other day. Prabhupada says we should become expert in chanting Hare Krishna, right? But he says we should also become expert in chanting other prayers. Because we see here with Gajendra, in a difficult situation, what does he do? He remembers the prayers that he chanted in his previous lifetime, very auspicious. And then, as a result of that spiritual association, his spiritual qualities, his spiritual character is manifest. Well, so that's, that's how, at least for us, my realization is, or my understanding is, that Krishna Buddhi Karunaya is, and Brihate Namaste, Buddhi Karunaya, is Krishna is being merciful to us when he appears in the form of the devotees, or even when he appears in the form of some struggle or some difficulty. Huh? So, we're very fortunate to have the association of Gajendra and his prayers and the reminder of our relationship with Krishna, which is what he's basically remembering here. You are the greatest and you are merciful. And as Prabhupada points out, even when we're not offering prayers to Krishna, he's still looking out for our benefit. Right? And we need to remember that. And a reason why we need to value and treasure the association of the devotees, the association of the deities, the chanting of Hare Krishna, but especially the association of the devotees. Because it's through the association of the devotees, big and small, right? Because they always help us to remember Krishna. They always remind us to serve effectively. Even sometimes when they're behaving like Indra. And it appears that they're not even behaving like devotees. Right? But still, that association of the devotees is special because there's always that opportunity to remember Krishna that comes as a result of that. And that remembrance of Krishna's bigger plan, of the greater. And it's very interesting here because Prabhupada says it's all being done by just a little bit of Krishna's potency. And quotes that verse, what need is there of all of this detail, right? But in one sense, we do need the detail. That's why the Brahma Samhitas important, because otherwise everything becomes bewildering if we don't know the relationships, the Vishnu Tattva, Shakti Tattva, Jiva Tattva. We need to understand why we study the Bhagavatam, why we study the Brahma Samhita, why we study the philosophy, because sometimes, everything that goes on is very bewildering, completely bewildering actually. And as a result of that bewilderment, then we lose faith in the devotees, we lose faith in the holy name, we lose faith in the scripture, because everything pretty much it's all, it's a turmoil. And that's why the association of devotees is so important, because, and why Lord Chaitanya became so ecstatic when he got the Brahma Samhita, because the Brahma Samhita really clarified the whole philosophy of the Chaitanya Vaishnavas, right? And that's what Lord Chaitanya and the Goswamis did, effectively. What is it? Nana Shastra Vichara Naika Nipuno Sadharma Samstapako. The word Nipuno means expert. Right? They were expert in what? Nana Shastra Vichara Naika. Scrutinizingly studying the Shastra. Huh? So they would understand all of the relationships, because there's a lot going on, and ultimately that everything comes from Krishna. This is the basis of Chaitanya Vaishnava philosophy. Everything comes from Krishna. Ishvaraha Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govinda Savakarana Karanam. He's the cause of all causes. And of course that's what Gajendra's is recognizing here. So that detailed analysis of everything that's going on around the place. What is it? Jiva Tattva, Shakti Tattva, Vishnu Tattva. It's important to understand all that's happened. And so in the Brahma Samhita you find all of that information is provided. And how the material energy works, how it entangles us, and also then how to get out of it. It's all summarized in the Brahma Samhita. Ajahn Ripa was telling, we used to chant the Brahma Samhita every day actually, at one point. Ajahn Ripa was telling me how she used to chant the Brahma Samhita every day. And then you learn it also. And what does Prabhupada have? As Prabhupada says, we should become expert in chanting prayers. And then what's the prayer that he recommends? Hare Krishna, yes. He says, but also Chintamani Prakara, etc. Right? The Brahma Samhita, effectively. Right? Now, the interesting thing, the thing that I heard just the other day that struck me, the Brahma Samhita that's translated into English by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is actually a translation of Bhaktivedanta Thakur's Bengali commentary on the Brahma Samhita, right? And the Bengali translation of Bhaktivedanta Thakur is Jiva Goswami's writings, but in Bengali. Huh? Pretty interesting. And of course, where did Jiva Goswami get the understanding of the Brahma Samhita from? We can assume Lord Chaitanya ultimately. And why following in the footsteps of the six Goswamis is important, because that's what they did. Nana Shastra Vichara Naika Nipuno. Why were they expertly scrutinizing the Shastra. Dharma samstapako. They wanted to establish religious principles, because that's what Lord Chaitanya told them to do. Right? Why we study the Bhagavatam, why we study the Brahma Samhita, and why we value the association of a devotee like Gajendra. Well, he's in the Bhagavatam, not just an ordinary elephant, right? Well, yeah, so it's interesting. Even though Prabhupada quotes this verse, what need is there for all this detailed knowledge? We actually do need that detailed knowledge and understand that connection ultimately with Krishna. Because that's why Krishna says, ultimately, what's the need for all that detailed knowledge? We need to understand that I'm the source of everything, right? But of course, the detailed knowledge gives us all of that understanding of the relationships, of the connections, of the separations, and ultimately, how to elevate our consciousness out of the material conception. What is it? Janeshva bigeshu saeva gokaraha. We need to get our mental conception out of being a cow or an ass. And we need to get it into the Vaikuntha, into the spiritual realm, which is the beauty of studying these prayers of Gajendra. Because, Gajendra's strutting around like the king of the elephants, like he owns the joint, right? That's described here. And then all of a sudden the crocodile's got his foot and he's in this grip of material suffering, and then out of that comes his pure bhakti, actually. Okay, finish here. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Any thoughts they'd like to share? Reflect for a minute. And then comments? Thoughts? Okay. I'm tired. We drove all day yesterday. The Chitrarupa said, this was our young selves thinking that we could, do a rush trip back to Melbourne, but now our old selves, when we woke up on Monday morning, we realised, oh God, I shouldn't do that anymore. Oh, ouch. And we came home to prasadam cooked by Ma Kata. So that was knocked us out, but it was beautiful prasadam. Okay, Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Hare Krishna.